Wow. Tyson Fury says that Deontay Wilder is taking the Trilogy third fight with him for money. Not nothing else, but for money. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Right now, we're promoting the ESPN Plus bundle, ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. Get all three of them by clicking the link in the description. $12.99 a month. Tons of content. Help you through this lockdown. I personally have all three. It's been helpful. I'm using it. I'm catching up with some programs and stuff that before this whole pandemic, I didn't really make the time to watch, but I think we all have a little bit more time. So if you want to help the channel in such a phenomenal, tremendous way, you can click on that link and, also get some content. Talk Sport, link in the description. Shock. Fury surprised Wilder taking the third fight after domination. Thinks it's for the money. So according to Tyson Fury, he believes that Wilder's doing it for the money. There's a clip from the second fight. Tyson Fury has told Talk Sport he was, quote, surprised that Deontay Wilder activated his contractual clause for a trilogy fight later this year. The pair have now shared the ring twice, with the first bout ending in controversial draw, which many felt the Brit won. There's a lot of persuasive journalism in this boxing game, bro. There's a lot of, people keep saying that, oh, it's a controversial draw. Okay, controversial, you've already suggested by saying it's a controversial draw. You've already inferred that there was controversy there. And then you're basically kind of trying to do persuasive writing. You said in which many felt the Brit won. I was at the fight and I didn't think Tyson Fury won. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just undermine all the people who think that it was controversial for many reasons. Some people did think Tyson Fury won, but there was a lot of people who thought Jack Reese messed up. And Jack Reese gave a long count and it should have been a knockout. There were a lot of people that think it should have been a draw. There were a lot of people that think that Wilder with 2 knockdowns and winning some of the early rounds won. So, there's a lot of people who, that old media shit where it's like they want to force their opinion on you. There's some people, that thought he won, but not everyone thought that. Like I said, there's tons of people and you can't do this game with me because I got popping channels, on Instagram and Facebook, and YouTube. I do numbers. So I see it. I see what I know. I talk to, I'm on Discord. I'm everywhere. You ain't never there. I'm on Twitter. So people hit me up all the time and tell me their opinions. And I know some of them personally, and I know it's not like everybody feels that Fury won that fight, but that's how they try to make it sound. Same thing as like you've seen articles about Andre Ward versus Kovalev. Again, controversial fight. I'm good with that, using that verbiage for that, because some people felt way A, some people felt way B. But what old media does, they do persuasive writing. They'll say it's controversial and then say many, just to include, many people thought that Tyson Fury won. Many people thought that Kovalev beat Ward. But that's one side of the demographic of people. Not everyone felt that Kovalev won. Not everyone felt that Tyson Fury won. Now, continuing. In their second meeting on February 22nd, he left no doubt as he beat up and dethroned the WBC heavyweight champion, stopping him within 7 rounds. As part of the deal for the second bout, the loser would have the option to force a trilogy, and Wilder instantly decided to take the clause following his first defeat. Fury reacted, telling Talk Sport, "Yeah, I was surprised because it was a one-sided fight. He didn't win a second of that second fight, but in this game, it's a short game and a short career, and there's an old saying, we've got to make hay while the sun shines." And for Deontay Wilder at the age of 34, how many big fights are out there left for him after a domination like he had? So I understand where he's coming from. I understand that he has probably a lot of bills to pay. I don't know the man's personal circumstances, but from what I've seen of these American fighters and sportsmen, they always live a rock star's life, even though they're not rock stars. That's a stupid comment, but he's talking about living the rock star's life, but he's the one that did cocaine. in wild boar meat. Okay, whatever. Continuing, Tyson Fury says they go through a lot of money quite quickly. Just look at Mike Tyson. He went through like $1 billion or whatever he went through. That's one person. So I'm sure the money side of it is the tempting thing. I don't think it's too tempting to go in there and get an absolute beating like he did before, but he would be tempted by the amount of money that he would receive because they go through it quite quickly. See, once again, you're dealing with somebody who's, I guess, looking for the right things to say and want to say like clever quips and witty things, but it's really not that witty if you think about what he just said, because he contradicted himself. He says they live like rock stars, yada, yada, yada. He's tempted by the money I would receive because he goes through it quite quickly, because they go through it quite quickly. Just basically saying Americans have spending habits. But then he just finished telling you, I don't know the man's personal circumstances. You see? So that right off rip doesn't make sense. You just said you don't know his personal circumstances, but everything else you've said is generalizing American celebs and sportsmen and them burning through money and accusing Wilder of wanting the rematch based on monetary gain. Not like, oh, he wants to avenge his loss, or he wants his belt back, or he wants to do the noble thing. You're surmising that this is the only reason, or this is the main objective and motive, because he's 34 and he needs money, or he has a crazy lifestyle. But you just said you don't know the man's personal circumstances. You don't know what he's buying. You don't know what he's spending on. And the funny thing is, Wilder's really not even out there like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, Wilder, out of all the flashy, like the Broners, Tank Davis and Mayweather and different people we've seen that really kind of stunt with their money, all the money Wilder's made, we don't really see him even stunt. So I reject your deposit. Fury says, I don't think it's too tempting to go in there and get an absolute beating, yada, yada, yada. I think that's the reason he's taking the fight, for the money. It has now been 6 weeks since Fury captured the final belt for his collection. It's not really the final because he doesn't have the other belts that Anthony Joshua has. He's had all the belts in the heavyweight division at different times, but you can't say it's the final belt when you don't have the other ones, but whatever. When asked about his reflections upon watching the fight back, he said, quote, "To be honest, I was quite disappointed in the challenge that Wilder brought, because I did train for 12 rounds at any pace and put myself through hell and back for 10 weeks in the training camp. And I prepare for the best fighter on the planet. I prepare for the most vicious puncher on earth that there's ever been. And I was quite disappointed because it wasn't the challenge that I expected. Although it was a fantastic victory for myself and it was a great fight, it just did seem that Wilder maybe wasn't himself." So it's funny when new media, when I say that Wilder looked off, whatever, and he says whatever about the suit, allegedly about the 45-pound suit, but people say, oh, you're just a Wilder fan, and the black channels and stuff like that. But Fury's telling you, it just did seem that Wilder maybe wasn't himself. He goes on to say maybe all the excuses he made, some of them were true. Maybe his legs were sore from the costume. Maybe he did have the flu. Maybe he did have a broken arm or a bone in his back or whatever. And the funny thing is, I don't even know what Fury's even talking about here. Him having the flu, I don't even think this was this fight. I never heard him say he had broken bones and bladder infections and all this shit that he's even saying. Fury's just weird, bro. He's just saying weird stuff. That he's confusing the Luis Ortiz fight or a past fight where Wilder mentioned that he had came into the hand, the first Fury fight. I believe he said he had a hand injury, fractured hand. The first Luis Ortiz fight, he said he had a flu that day. But none of this, unless you guys can cite your source and show me a link in the comment section where he said all these plethora of excuses for the second fight. The only thing that I've even heard reported was the 45-pound costume excuse. So I don't know what Fury's talking about. Maybe some of these excuses, plural. He said, I'm not sure because that wasn't the Deontay Wilder that I was prepared for. That wasn't the animal I put myself through all those hours in training for. Like I said, it would be one of my easiest fights, and it was. I believe that was one of my easiest fights apart from the early knockovers that I had. And on this level, you don't usually get that sort of easy victory with heavyweight champions of the world. The guy's been heavyweight champion of the world and made 10 title defenses, knocked out every single person. And to go in there with me, who's usually a boxer, counterpuncher, master, skilled boxer, and get absolutely destroyed in a few rounds. I trained for an absolute battle royale, and I didn't get that. So hopefully there's a couple of fighters out there that when I go into a training camp and I do serious training, that they will be worthy of the challenge. I'm not in boxing to be a heavyweight champion or win some belts or anything. I'm here to give the fans what they want, battle royales, and the best fights that can be made. From what I'm seeing, if that's the best out there, then I'm not going to get the worthy challengers that I crave. So, hey, he feeling himself. He feeling himself. Tyson Fury absolutely feeling himself. And, you know, that's cool. He got the WBC belt. But I don't agree with anything he said, really. Like, in terms of, I think Wilder, it wasn't his night. He lost. End of story. You know, we also have to look at the glove gate and the farmer gate. We don't know if something underhanded really went on, just because look at Tyson Fury's demeanor. Look at the people he associates himself with, like Billy Joe Saunders, right? Things like that. So I do think the third fight is going to for sure sell. Whenever boxing, the ban is like uplifted with this pandemic, I think the third fight is definitely going to sell between the glove gate, farmer gate, Wilder losing in that fashion, Wilder, having a do or die fight, a risky fight, because he can't have another performance like that. That's going to be horrible for his career if he loses like that again. People that believe Wilder said the 45-pound suit costume was too heavy, they're going to look at how he comes out, what his ring entrance is. So this is all beneficial for the third fight. I think people also have a newfound respect for live sports and maybe things that they took for granted since this pandemic, when it finally ends and stuff like that. But the main thing that he was talking about, the title of the article, I disagree thoroughly. I don't think Wilder in his career has showed that he's a person that is only motivated by the Benjamin Franklins, all about the Benjamins. I don't see that. I remember after the Brazil fight, I recorded Wilder. I was in the front row, post-fight press conference. He knocked out Brazil in one round. And he says, basically kind of like Keith Thurman does, I got to own, I'm not afraid to let it go. He said, it's not about that. We can all fight. And he wasn't even really about Tyson Fury. This was before he lost, obviously. But he was saying, like with Joshua, he said, it's okay. People lose and they come back, and the historic greats have lost and come back. That's what makes it exciting. We want to see the best versus the best, and I'm so excited to give the fans. So he's talking like a true warrior. He's never said anything, or to me, from what I've seen, acted in a manner where cash rules everything around him and he don't care about his legacy. So I think he's coming for Tyson Fury's neck. He's going to try to get some things right in the training camp, go back to the fundamentals, maybe add someone to the team. But I think this trilogy could end up being a 4-part saga like Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Some guys, they just, every time they fight, it's good fights. And this could be one of them because, now Wilder's confidence has been dented. He lost something that mattered to him. We haven't really heard from Wilder, which I actually like. I like the fact that Wilder is, because sometimes you see fighters take a bad loss and they all up trying to show that they good, and they start doing too much and like almost overcompensating. I like the fact that Wilder, with this pandemic, you don't know what's going on. Even before the pandemic, he did like a couple kind of mysterious videos, and then he just peaced out. And we ain't heard no Wilder talk about coronavirus. We ain't seen no updated pictures on his social media. He just been in the bat cave. And I actually like that. I like that response. I mean, he lost, spent time with family. He had a quick turnaround between the Luis Ortiz 2 fight and the Fury fight. Possibly that has some bearing on it. He complained about the suit, allegedly. I still haven't seen a video of him saying that. But all in all, I disagree with Tyson Fury. I don't think Wilder's demeanor has ever really associated making a bunch of money as his main objective in the sport. Or of course he wants to make money and take care of his family and have generational wealth and stuff like that. But he's never, to me, showed that money would be the only reason. I think he wants to try to knock Tyson Fury out, and he knows the power. He was mad that Mark Breland stopped the fight because he knows he has power to come back from any situation if he can get his legs under him. So I think, I don't know what Fury's talking about. And the thing that's, you can't really trust Fury. Fury whooping Wilder like this could have been his downfall. I really believe it, because I feel like Fury is the person that he needs to, his back against the wall, and that's what lights a fire underneath him. So the fact that he blew through Wilder, he might go in like foolishly and underestimate it, just like the Otto Wallin fight. You know, he was feeling himself. He was like, oh, I'm the king of Vegas, and Vegas is my town and stuff. And I don't think he really took the Otto Wallin fight super serious, you know, because he didn't switch and go to the Kronk gym and all that. But he knew Wilder was capable of knocking him out. But Otto Wallin, he had the same team, Ben Davison, and I think he took it lightly, and Otto Wallin was much more game and tougher than he expected. So Fury's just a weird person like that, where if it's a challenge like what he expected, like he's saying, versus Wilder in the rematch, fighting Klitschko, sometimes he gets up for those competitions. But now, after what he did to Wilder in the second fight, he might think he has it in the bag. So, I'm really anxious for this third fight. I'm anxious for boxing in general, but this is a great heavyweight story. If Wilder can come back from this is just legendary stuff. They have a proper trilogy. If Wilder can come back and, I don't know about outboxing him, but if he can come back and knock out Fury again, that would be impressive. So we'll see how it is. I disagree with this article though, Tyson Fury, because like even his knockdowns weren't clean. Like he's saying I won every second of every round. I didn't even see all that. I thought Wilder was doing solid in the first 2 rounds. He's probably waiting a little bit too much, but he still landed some shots, some pretty big shots. But he was kind of patient, trying to have the fight come to him. And then after this knockdown that you see on the screen, it's like he never really recovered. He got a cut in his ear. His equilibrium was off, or his legs was off. It looked weird. It didn't even look like, Wilder. And Tyson Fury's even looking at him like, what the hell? So I think Tyson Fury's in for a rude awakening, because sometimes it is what people say it is. If Wilder did, or his team or whoever complained about the suit, that could have been something. And boxing is a psychological sport. I've said this before. Me, I didn't like the suit excuse just based on I knew how it was going to be perceived. They were like, oh, I can't believe this. This sounds so ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. But, there's definitely a strong chance that the suit was too heavy. And if you put that in your mind that it's too heavy and, you have an attitude about it, then I could see you having an off night, because at the elite level, everything has to click. You have to be mentally fresh and mentally focused in on what you need to be doing. But I was actually impressed, because Wilder, whatever was wrong with him, because it looked like something was clearly wrong with him, be it the suit, being his legs felt funny, the equilibrium shot, the ear cut, whatever it was, Wilder was still trying to fight through this. So I think you still have an absolute dangerous man. I think a lot of Fury man fans, they're running wild, and they're like, oh, Wilder has no chance now. Oh, I told you he was a bum. And, that's good. So hopefully Fury's a massive favorite. So people who think Wilder have a chance can bet some money on him and win big. Because I think Wilder had a bad day at the office, bad night at the office, and he needs to correct some things. It's a dangerous fight, but he's definitely capable of winning. And it's not just me saying that. George Foreman said the same thing. George Foreman said he talked to Wilder. So, he just has to keep his mind. If Wilder's mind is fresh, then he's going to be a problem in the rematch. If he mentally lets this defeat, and he can't come from this mentally, then he's going to have a problem in the rematch. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Tyson Fury, he's setting himself up for failure, in my opinion, if he feels this man is no longer a threat and I dominated him and he's only fighting for money, but he knows he's going to get whooped. I think he's if he underestimates Wilder, then that's going to be a problem. That's my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.